Thank everyone for still sticking around and for being here. That does mean everything to me. Your support does help this channel. Now, today I'm going to be talking about coping skills and how to use them. Now, what are coping skills and why do we need them? Well, when we are under a lot of stress or distress, the thing to remember is, you know, stress can be overwhelming without proper care and without proper understanding of what it means to cope. Now, certain coping skills are like listening to music, journaling, maybe going for a walk if you can, or going for a drive, or relaxing in a pool of hot water somewhere, or just, sitting down with your loved one and just watching a movie, playing a game with someone, or just anything at all that relaxes your soul. Now, most people don't know that coping skills, what works for me may not work for you. So give me a suggestion in the comments down below or a comment on what coping skills you use and any ideas for me because I do appreciate it. Now, oftentimes we need to use coping skills because we are dealing with loss, grief, or anger, or stress. Sometimes we can be dealing with all that at once, and that can be overwhelming. Now, it's important to understand that, you know, when we think about how to cope, what we're really saying is that we need to help manage what we're dealing with in an effective, appropriate way so that it does not overwhelm us, so it does not drive us further down or away from our loved ones. Coping skills may or may not work for you. You may or may not remember to use them, and that's okay. This sort of thing does take practice. So don't beat yourself up if you're not perfect at it right away, or if you have no idea what coping skill even to use. Now, take me for example. I like to listen to music. I love to read books. Sometimes I'll just jot down something in my journal, whether it's a just daily diary or an observation or a thought I'm having. Oftentimes, most of the time, I'm talking to my best friend. Shout out to her. And, that helps me a lot too. You know, it's important to remember that we are not supposed to be the same person, meaning we are not supposed to be like everybody else. But it is also important to remember that just because we're different doesn't mean that we don't need to use coping skills. Far from it. People who have mental health illness generally need to use coping skills. That's why I suggest that when you are angry, you do something that's creative, or you hop on a game where you can just destroy something. That could be therapeutic. I'm not saying it always works for everyone. It may make your anger even worse, but it may help to have something as a distraction like that so that you can effectively get your anger out instead of taking it out on people around you. Now, I've not been the best at doing coping skills, but lately I've been utilizing them more and more to really bring me peace of mind. Like everything, it takes practice. I'm not perfect at it, and I don't expect my viewers to be perfect at it right away either. It is always important to recognize what triggers us what upsets us, what stresses us out, and how to deal with it effectively. When I say effectively, I mean manage it in a way that doesn't involve us lashing out at people or saying mean things or being cruel unnecessarily to other life. You know, don't let your dark impulses obscure your need for being a good person. My friends, this is not a good world to be in right now. But just because it isn't all good doesn't mean there is no good. You see what I'm saying? Just because the world is in chaos right now doesn't mean that we can't do our part to make it better. That we can't do what is right. And what is right isn't always easy. So many times we get caught up, and I've mentioned this before in my other self help videos. Give them a watch. But so often we get caught up in self judgment, negative self judgment. I am worthless. I am a mistake. I do not belong here. I am not important in the grand scheme of things. And one of the coping skills you can use for that is to change the negative into a positive. Force yourself to say something like this every day: I am worth it. I am loved. And I do have a purpose here. I am valued as a human being. You know, I know my hair's a bit of a mess. Don't mind that. But another thing on that subject is proper care of self. You know, just because my hair's a mess right now, that doesn't mean I'm not taking care of myself. It just means I was laying down for a bit and my hair got messy. I'll have to rebrush it before I head out today. But see, that's also a coping skill. You can use something as simple as brushing your hair as a coping skill. Just count how many times you brush your hair. Focus on how it makes you feel. And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 brushes. That's keeping you grounded in the here and now. It's focusing your mind away from what's upsetting you and from whatever pain you're going through. Now, I'm not saying all physical pain is the same, you know, and that may be harder to deal with, especially if it's on top of other physical pain. But the best we can do is to cope with our mental pain, to cope with how we feel, to make sure we are dealing with our emotions in an effective, productive, and kind manner, not only towards others, but mainly towards ourselves. Now, let me tell you a secret. Whether you think you have narcissistic tendencies or not, the fundamental truth of everything is that it's okay to be a little bit selfish at times. It's okay to worry about how to properly manage your emotions and how to take care of yourself. That isn't narcissism. That's taking proper care of you. Don't be caught up in saying, well, I can't take care of me because if I do, it's selfish. If I do, other people are going to judge me for taking care of me instead of taking care of them. They're going to be on my butt all the time saying, you should have been there for me. Why weren't you there for me? You need to get on that. And if someone does that to you, if someone treats you like that they're better than you, or that, you are not worth something, that's invalidation. And to cope with invalidation, you need to learn how to validate ourselves. Again, back to self affirmations. I am worth it. I am loved, I am good enough, and I am meant to be here. And keep saying it until you believe it. Because what you're really doing is tricking your subconscious. The subconscious is kind of stupid. In fact, it's really stupid. It tends to be where all our negative thoughts lie, where all our fears lie. You could be thinking consciously all through the day, happy go lucky thoughts. But then your subconscious bothers you in nightmares or dreams of things you did not think about during the day, of not properly processing your past dramas. And so a coping skill could be just simply getting better rest, going to bed earlier, don't stay up so late, eating better, and just being better in general. Remember, you can use a coping skill at any time. You can use it if you're in the store, you can use it if you're on a walk somewhere. Probably not while you're driving, but even while you're driving, as long as you're focused on the road, you could put on some music on the radio or something and just have it play so that you have something to help you relax while you're driving and keep focused on the road. One brief thing I'd like to talk about further in this broadcast is that if one of the main forms of your stress happens to be a relationship you're in, whether it be a friendship or more than that, you need to ask yourself this question. A question I posed to my best friend. Again, shout out to her, but a question I posed to her was, what is this person doing for you that makes you love this person? Think about that. Really stop and think about it. What has this person done for you? If they've done good things, great. That's exactly the things you need to keep track of and to appreciate. But if all they've done is bad towards you and been toxic towards you and have hurt you, they have not done things for you, they have done things to you. And so to cope with that, you need to have someone you can rely on who can tell you, who can ask that question and keep pressing the issue and make you think about it, not in an annoying way, but in a caring, helpful way. When I first posed that question to my friend, I'm not mentioning names, and I never will when it comes to my relationship with my best friend. But when I posed that question to her, she had to really stop and think, what is this person doing for me? How is he showing love? Why do I love him? And that's the same thing with ourselves, really. What am I doing on a day-to-day basis to show love? Not towards just myself, but towards others. And how do I cope when I am not doing that and when I'm just feeling stressed, anxious, or angry, or depressed, or all of the above? My friends, it may not be easy to cope, but trust me, you are not alone. Anyway, this has been Darth Sidious DGW, aka Daniel. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.